Hi everyone, welcome back to Steve's Garage. Today I'll be changing the angle gear and rear differential fluid on a 2020 Volvo XC90. This will be the same procedure for all SPA cars, though things could look a little different between models. This does require the car to be level, either raised or sitting on the ground. I found it easiest to raise the entire car on 4 jack stands to have extra room for not only this job, but other fluid services that can be done at this time. Before we get started, I'm going to quickly cover the tools you'll need. A 7mm socket, 13mm socket, T30 Torx bit, a couple of ratchets, a 13mm wrench, flathead screwdriver. A torque wrench is optional, but the fill plugs do have a torque spec. 2 new crush washers. I won't be replacing the fill plugs today since my car is still lower in mileage and everything looks pretty good, but grabbing some fill plugs isn't a bad idea if your car is a little older or you know it's really rusty or in rough shape under there. I have 2 different extraction pumps. I like to use one for the old fluid and one for the new fluid. Not pictured is an angled pick tool. It might come in handy with one of the hose clamps. You'll see once we start the work. And lastly, 75W90 gear oil. I used just under 1 bottle for both the angle gear and the rear diff. There's certainly no harm in grabbing 2. You can do it just to be safe, or if you want to do a flush of each unit, you'll have the extra fluid to do so. I'll be starting in the front, so we can start by removing the lower belly pan or splash shield. There are 10 T30 Torx screws holding it on, and there should be 2 small push clips on the front and the rear. Mine didn't have it, so I can't show you those today, but they'll be right in line with the screws. You'll see them if they're there. Get that thing out of your way, and now we can start on the real reason why we're here. Before you can even access the angle gear, you'll have to remove a section of the lower charge pipe. The hose clamps can be removed with a 7mm socket or a flathead screwdriver. Those are pretty standard. Technically, you don't have to remove the hose from the black plastic piece, but I did so for ease of access and trying to film while removing the next piece. The black plastic piece connects to the turbo with a quick connect spring clamp that's a bit of a pain to get out. You can sort of see it up there, but it'll be much easier to explain when it's off the car. You have to access it from the top, and there are 2 sides to the clamp. If you open up one end, it locks into place, but as soon as you open up the other side, the other one locks back down. I used a screwdriver and an angled pick tool to open up both sides of the clamp and pull the pipe off the turbo. Now you've got clear access to the angle gear fill plug. Using a 13mm socket or wrench, you can remove it, and make sure you get the copper crush washer with it. These fill plugs are magnetic, and even at 50,000 miles, you can see mine does have some gunk on it. If you've owned all-wheel drive Volvos in the past, you know the importance of changing this fluid and that it is definitely not lifetime. There's no need to replace my fill plug today, so I just cleaned it and reused it. Again, if you're familiar with all-wheel drive Volvos, you know that this is where the real fun begins. There's no drain plug on the angle gear. You have to extract the fluid out with the fluid pump. I pumped mine into a quart cup so I could see how much I took out. Volvo states that you pump in new fluid until it comes out of the fill hole, but they had the same spec for the P80 all-wheel drive cars, and they later revised it to be a slightly less amount. I personally don't see the need to pump in more fluid than what I took out, and this method has worked fine on both my P80 and this SPA XC90. Once I finish extracting the fluid from the angle gear, I actually prefer to go back to the rear diff and extract the fluid from there. That way I'm doing all the used fluid at the same time. But for the sake of clear presentation in this video today, I'll be finishing this job before moving to the rear. When it comes to the new fluid, I like to fill the quart cup with a little more than what I need. In my case, I took out 8 ounces, so I'll fill the quart cup with 12. Then I can pump down to about 4 ounces, and now I got the proper amount of fluid in the angle gear without struggling to pump out every last drop. Or in this case, I can pump in 8 ounces and see if it starts to drip once I put in a little more, just to see where I'm at. I prefer to use a new pump for new fluid, but you can absolutely reuse the old one. Just run some new, clean fluid through it to clean it out, and you're all set. As you can see, I made a giant mess under the car, which is honestly very unlike me. I usually work much cleaner than this, but I accidentally knocked over the quart cup with the pump. I'm trying to get the pump up into that angle gear. It was all just a bit much. Take your time, and remember that you're saving money over bringing it to a shop, and you're also doing some regular maintenance that ensures your car functions properly for the future. If you're filling it until it comes out of the fill hole, wait for the drips to slow or stop entirely. Once you're done pumping in the new fluid, reinstall your drain plug, and don't forget your crush washer. The fill plug gets torqued to about 35 Newton meters or 26 foot-pounds. I didn't actually use a torque wrench on mine, but there's no harm in doing so. You can now reinstall the intercooler piping. The black plastic pipe slips right onto the turbo. It's much easier than when taking it off. Attach the rubber hose, tighten down the hose clamps, and you're all set. If you're done working, you can reinstall the belly pan, but there's other work like an oil change or transmission service that you can do while you're under there. Now we can move to the rear differential, which is located in line with the rear wheels, right in front of the muffler. The fill plug is located pretty high, but it is absolutely accessible compared to the angle gear. It's another 13mm socket with a crush washer, so remove that and make sure the crush washer comes with it. Grab that trusty old fluid pump and start extracting the fluid. I had a little trouble getting the hose in the proper place to remove the fluid, but rest assured it will come out. I think my problem was that I wasn't angling the hose sharp enough when I was putting it into the fill hole. I was pushing the hose straight in, but if you angle it sharply into the hole and kind of follow the edge of the case down, it winds up in the gear oil. Just like the front, I extracted the fluid into a quart cup so I could see how much I took out. And again, just like the front, it was about 8 ounces. Similar to the front, this fluid doesn't look terrible, but the new fluid certainly looks better, so you can see the importance of changing it. I also used the same procedure as I did in the front, filling a cup with a little more than what I needed and pumping in the amount that I took out. You're probably noticing that I'm making slightly less of a mess back here than I did in the front. Second time's the charm, as they say. If you do want to do a flush of the angle gear or the rear diff, you can just keep pumping as much new fluid through as you want, and it'll just sort of flush the old stuff out. I didn't feel that was necessary here since I do know the history of the vehicle, and the fluid, again, wasn't too bad. Once you're done pumping in the fluid, it's the same procedure as the front. Don't forget the new crush washer on your fill plug, and torque it to 35 Newton meters or 26 foot-pounds. Again, I didn't use a torque wrench on it, but if you don't feel comfortable or you just want that extra security of using a torque wrench, there's no harm in doing so. While the car is in the air, you should do a haldex fluid service and an oil change. I have videos for both of those if you're interested. You can also do a transmission fluid service, which I will post in the future, so keep an eye out for that one. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you don't miss future XC90 maintenance tutorials, like that transmission fluid change. Please leave any questions or comments you have below. I try to answer everyone. I hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching.